What is going on, guys? Welcome to the first ever video of this new series called The PB Theory. My goal with this series is truly to teach you everything that I know about trading, but in a way where it's to make you a self-sufficient trader. It is to make you master your own model, utilize information that I teach you, and then make it something of your own. I've been wanting to do this series for a long time, and I feel like I've kind of been talked out of it here and there because I guess it's different, right? A lot of people, they say, oh, well, teach this, teach ICT, teach other shit, and as much as I utilize, I guess, all these other sources of information, what I'm going to teach you now is just my perspective that I've built throughout my experience in the markets alone, and that's something that wasn't taught to me anywhere else. This is stuff I came up with as I became a better trader, things I noticed in the markets, all this stuff. And yeah, I mean, above making you a better trader, I want to make you a better person. So I don't know when you're watching this, but it is the end of 2025 now, and it's definitely been a very reflective period for me. And I wanted to do something, new, I guess, going into this next year. And so I'm finally starting this series. Sorry for all the yap. By the time you're watching this, I'll probably have a few videos. No, I will have a few videos ready and already scheduled to post. So I'm not going to post this and leave you guys empty-handed for weeks. This series is going to be something I push out extremely consistently. One video every other day for as many days as it takes. And if this is your first time watching one of my videos, I'm PB Trading, also known as Patrick. And a little bit about me, I guess, is, I probably, like you, always wanted to work for myself. But I guess in a deeper sense, I hated being told what to do, whether it was by my family, my friends, or anyone I did business with. I hated being told what to do my entire fucking life. And, eventually I got to the point where I'm here, I trade, and nobody can tell me what to do, which is amazing. And I have this cool room and a nice house, and I get to spend time with my family. But before all that, I was kind of a mess in a way, where I was just trying everything I possibly could. I tried fucking CSGO skins, trading in that market when I was like 13 and 14. I tried drop shipping. I tried crypto super early on and lost all my money. I tried a rug making business. I tried a clothing brand. I've tried a multitude of things, and those were the best years of my life, just trying things and failing. And people don't understand like the beauty in learning, which is only found through failure. Because once you have the things that you've wanted, you kind of just sit there, you admire them, but your brain always goes to what's next. And sometimes it feels like you're in this endless cycle of what's next, which is kind of what I feel like right now, to be completely vulnerable. I've definitely accomplished a lot, and I want to keep growing as a trader and all this. But I feel like my intentions are not so much money anymore, and I just want to grow more so, individually, spiritually, as a person, whatever, and do stuff that I'm more passionate about, which I have now given myself the opportunity to do so, by having financial freedom, time freedom, and all this stuff. But yeah, I want to do the same for you. I want to tell you all about, the potential struggles, how to overcome them, the mindset that you need, and everything that you need to learn technical and psychological wise to become the best trader, but also the best person. So back to what I was saying though, after all these things, eventually I found trading, after failing at a bunch of different business, trying a bunch of different ventures. And trading, I was blessed enough to have found through my best friend, who back in 2022 or 2022, it's been about 3 years now, maybe a bit more. He had been trading for a year, and one day we were on a trip together, and I've told the story many times, and we were just chilling at the beach, and I look over at his phone, and he takes a trade, and I'm like, what, since when do you trade? Like, out of all people, since when do you trade, and how did I not know about this? And we kind of laughed about it, and he told me he had been working on it. I asked him to teach me. I wanted to copy him at first and just be like, yo, can I just copy you? And he didn't let me. And so he ended up just teaching me pretty much everything he knew. And from there, by the way, his name is Blake. If you want to check him out, PB Blake on YouTube. I fucking love that guy more than anything. And from there, I kind of built off of the things he taught me, right? Because that's what it takes to be a trader. It is to master a certain amount of information and expand on it. Through that, you learn to build discretion. And discretion isn't something that can be taught. It is something that you develop over time, actively practicing a certain skill. If you're actively applying a certain model, the more you do it, the more you start to, notice things that work better with it. Certain market conditions that make you feel better when executing, like build you conviction and confidence. And that's what it means to be a trader. It's not like these 99% of other people who are sitting here on social media telling you, you have to do this and you have to trade my model. I'm not here to tell you that, bro. I don't care what you do, to be honest. But I will sit here and teach you the most important things I've learned throughout my journey. And you take what you want from this. All this information will be useful, and make it your own, because that's all I care about. I want the person watching this to just, at the end of the day, be yourself, build your own empire, live your life however you want. And I'm just going to give you the tools to do so, but I don't care how you use them. Anyways, so yeah, I found trading through Blake and it changed my life. It gave me the ability to have everything I have now. And, even after trading for a bit, I decided to start teaching other people. Yes, I sell course, mentorship, whatever you want to call it, but my intentions have always been pure. I just want to help people. And I know it's kind of contradicting. A lot of people shade it, but I am passionate about what I do, and I've always been. And yes, I have made good amount of money from it, and I fucking love it. But I've also made an extraordinary amount of money from trading, and they go completely hand in hand. I could never be a good mentor to someone if I couldn't have been a good trader myself. And I'm very blessed to have all those opportunities. So yeah, that being said, let's start off this video by getting you to lock in, right? I feel like most people watching this are probably beginning of 2026. And I'm going to tell you that the first step with trading is figuring out your goal with trading. And that doesn't mean money-wise. If you're going to sit here and tell me that your goal is to make 10K or 100K, get off this video. I need you to have a goal that's rooted far deeper beyond just money. For example, I want to spend more time with my family, because it's goals like that that are bigger than yourself, which ultimately lead you to achieving, everything. I can say from the bottom of my heart that when I started trading, I was obsessed with it because I was obsessed with the time freedom. And, for fuck's sake, not having to listen to anyone. As I mentioned before, I hate listening to anyone. I hate being told what to do. And I knew trading would give me that ability if I mastered it. I also kind of liked numbers growing up. I was good at math. I was good at, stats, all this shit. And trading also felt like kind of like a video game for me. Maybe you're watching this and you love playing video games and you played a ton growing up. So did I. Every single video game, name it, I was obsessed. I was trying to make it onto the leaderboards. I am, truly a nerd at heart. I play video games and watch anime and play guitar all day. And I couldn't ask for more, honestly. But yeah, I wanted just to live my own life on my own means. And that's what grew me so close to trading. And, I truthfully think that's why it worked out. It wasn't about money. It was just about living on my own terms. And, nowadays I've spent more time with my dad in the last few months than I have, in many years. So that's like one of the biggest blessings for me, as well as like my mom and my brother. And we get to travel a lot together now, which is super beautiful. So I'm very, very grateful for all that stuff. But yeah, you have to find something bigger than yourself if you want to make it in this world, because it is very easy to be so greedy and just tied down to the numbers and only look at how much money you can make, but not so much how much you could change your life and grow as a person and open doors that have been closed for you for so long. So, spend some time journaling, I would say. Try to figure that out. You need to learn a lot about yourself to become a good trader. And if you don't learn it now, you will learn it. And you will learn it the hard way. And that's part of the game. And I will tell you that the markets will humble you 1,000 times over. They are a reflection of your weakest habits. I've said this a million times. So if you're someone who lacks routine, who lacks discipline, who's just generally not a good person, if you are not, the person you want to be now, well, trading will force you to become that person. You can't just wake up a minute before market open and think that you're gonna cook on the charts and make a ton of money. It's not how it works. You can't just, take a trade and skip the gym and not eat healthy and spend money on stupid shit and be a long-term, sustainable, successful trader. That's not gonna work. You need to be a good person to be a good trader. It's the truth. There's no other way to phrase it, which is why I said in the beginning of this video, my goal isn't just to make you a good trader, but to make you a good person above all. So yeah, be prepared for one of the most difficult journeys of your life, or maybe you already are pretty deep into this journey and you're still excited for this series, because I'm gonna get pretty in depth with stuff. I'm gonna talk about plenty of things that I've just noticed in the market and that have given me the ability to know the next draw on liquidity like 80% of the time, to be incredibly just consistent, and all these things, right? I've really gone through all the trials and error, I think, at this point with trading, and there's so much I have to talk about, which I very happily want to teach you guys as well. So be prepared for that. A lot of the concepts and the theories or stuff you're going to hear in this video is very much a, I guess, personal, subjective way that I see the market. You might not agree with a lot of it. That's totally fine. I don't need you to agree with any of this, but I'm sure if you keep an open mind, you will learn a ton from this series. I don't know how many videos it's going to be. It could be 20, 30, could be 15 of the best videos of your life. But I promise you, I will change your life one way or another. Whether it is me making you realize trading is not for you or it is for you, one of those has to walk out of here. And throughout this time, you are going to fail, you're going to be humbled, you're going to struggle, you're going to blow accounts, you're going to make money and blow the money, you are going to not even pass some accounts and just blow those. And it's part of the game. It is completely part of the game. If you think you're going to go into this first try and be a millionaire, you are so far from wrong. If you think that this is going to be easy, you are also so far from wrong. This is just like anything else in life, but with a huge emphasis on probability. So once again, this is going to be a very intense series. And let me just say something. God doesn't put you in these positions for no reason. You ended up here because you deserve this. You are going to come out of here and be the exact person you've always envisioned. And that is very important that you believe. And as much as I, at one point, tried to deny the fact that I could live life on my own terms and my own means, I still ended up here. At one point when I went to university and worked really hard to just be the best student, I was getting straight A's all of university, studying at a pretty damn good university too, that practically built you out to be a corporate rat, I guess, to say in the nicest way possible, but that was what they did there, right? And you would do classes one semester, work one semester, and as well as I did good in school, having straight A's, by the time it came where I had to apply for jobs, I had applied to over 70 positions, And I didn't hear back from a single one of those 70 plus positions except one, which was a job that wasn't even in my like lane. It was a marketing analyst job. I was studying, business and finance, minor in data science. I wanted to go into IB, or at least I thought. And I had to do a marketing analyst job, which was kind of embarrassing because all my friends who, worked these crazy internships at these banks or whatever, they all got like the jobs they wanted. And I was kind of left with something that was considered pretty mediocre. And it was because my entire resume was just entrepreneurial stuff, the clothing brand, the rug making business, all this stuff. At one point I was an analyst for a stocks Discord, and I was teaching futures in there with Blake. And so I was at a disadvantage, I guess. But I was at a disadvantage with that world, with that side of things. But in my own world, I didn't realize that I was at an advantage. I had learned a lot from all these previous ventures and entrepreneurial things I had done. And once again, I had been proven that I am someone who's meant to be on my own terms and live my life however I want without anyone telling me. And when I tell you that I accepted this job and I had the most gut-wrenching feeling that this was a mistake because I was so passionate about trading at the time, man, I was terrified. I really thought for a second everything I've worked for, I'm now going against. But why am I doing this? Because it's safe, because you need to at least try it and all this stuff, which, yeah, I'm grateful. And sure, these jobs are safe, but what does safe even mean? Like, I'm supposed to just work for someone for 40 years and, live the most average life ever? I don't think so. That's not what I want to do, that's for sure. And, when I started this job, I was angry at myself. I was kind of angry at the world too, that I was in this position. And it made me realize those people you see who are in their 30s, 40s, 50s, and you look at them and you're like, dude, how could this idiot have so much money? They're so enthusiastic about life. They make jokes about everything. They're always so happy. And you're like, why does this guy have so much money and I don't? Like, I've worked so hard. I've done so much. And look at this guy. He's just trolling. He acts like a child. He gets to act like a child because he took the risk, right? Those people that you see who are in their adulthood, whatever, 30s and 40s, and they get to enjoy the world and they get to act childish, is because they never let anyone take that spark from them. They took some sort of risk that got them to where they're at now. And because of that, they are happy. They are happy with themselves. And that's really what it is. And so the more I thought about it, the more I grew angry, I guess, working this job. And I would walk into these meetings, I had to do the financial reports for the marketing campaigns of like SMS and email. And I was like doing their financial reports, presenting it at meetings. And I would look around and everyone looked soulless, bro. Like, everyone looked soulless. Or like 20-year-olds looked like they were in their 30s because they're just, corporate fucking rats. And I was like, I can't be here. Like, I can't be here. This isn't for me. There's no way. Like, my younger self would be so pissed at me if I stuck working this job. It doesn't make sense. This is not what I set myself up for. I always told all my friends and everyone that I was going to work for myself, that I was going to do something great. I wanted to build things. I wanted to create. I wanted to do something fucking awesome. And when I sat under those office lights and showed up to my desk every day and responded to my manager on Slack, I was like, what am I doing? What am I doing? Like, genuinely, what is going on? How did I end up here? How have I been convinced this was the route that I had to take, that this was true success, that this meant longevity, sustainability, and financial comfort, that this was a real job? What does that even mean? I want risk. I want my adrenaline pumping 24/7. I want to do things that require me to be so locked in that if I slip up for 1 second, my life is screwed. You know, that's how I want to operate, because I know that's what it takes to be really successful. That's what it takes to have those 100-foot yachts, or, you know, maybe that's not your case and you're kind of like me, to have a house, you know, in the middle of Italy with your own vineyard and vintage cars and a beautiful family and a bunch of pets, and I just play guitar every day outside. That's the life I want to set up for myself, and it's not going to be in this office. I'll tell you that. And 6 weeks in, or about 7 or 8, forgot how long it was, I decided I was going to quit the job. And I remember calling my dad that day, and he was someone who, once again, everything, you know, I'm so grateful and so blessed for everything that I've been given in life. And my dad was someone who very much supported me. It was funny the way he supported me, though, because when I was in high school and I told him, like, hey, can you help me out a bit to start my clothing brand that can have $1,000? And he would give it to me. And I'd be like, oh my God, let's go. We're going to run this shit up. At the same time, he would always tell me, like, you're going to learn the hard way, kid. Like, life isn't easy. Life isn't easy. You're going to struggle. Life will humble you 1,000 times over. Like, he would just ingrain that in my brain. Naturally, you know, Hispanic family, what else can I expect? And I'd always tell him, I'm like, nah, I'm gonna prove you wrong. I'm gonna prove you wrong. And I think every time he would hear me say that, you know, he would believe it a little bit more and more. But I'm so grateful for my dad who helped me with, you know, start off a lot of the entrepreneurial things I did when I was younger. When I wanted to make a rug making business, I was like, hey, can I buy this tufting machine? And he would get it for me, which was great. And I know not everyone has that opportunity, so I'm very blessed. But regardless of your position in life, I'm still going to help you, and I'm still going to change your life, and I will do everything in my power to do so. But yeah, that's just a little shout out to Dad. Anyways, then when I called my dad, I was expecting him to tear me apart, that I was gonna quit the job. And I had a conversation with him that forever changed my life. You know, I sat there on the phone with him. I stepped out of my office and I was like, hey, I'm not happy. Like, I want to quit this job. I want to go all into trading. And I was like already, you know, the type of frustration where you start crying because I thought he was going to tear me to pieces. But instead he asked me one simple question. He goes, would you regret quitting this job and going all in? And I said, no. I said, for the first time in my life, Dad, I want to see what I can accomplish if I went 110% into something every day for just 1 year. I just need 1 year to prove you wrong, to prove myself, more importantly though, and just see truly the output from consistent inputs. And my intentions for 1 year, it was my goal that every single day I'd give trading my complete energy, everything in my body to make this work. Just 1 day, 100% effort. Because I had never once done that with my clothing brand, with the rug making business, with everything in life. The second I made a bit of money, I got comfortable, I would spend it, and I would lose control, and everything would go to waste. And hold up, let me close the door. My brother's hella annoying. And so that was my goal. It was to simply be better every single day, consistently for 1 year. I did that, right? I quit my job. I was living in an apartment alone. I also took a year off of school, so I had no pressure from school, from work, from anything, from anyone, not even roommates, to achieve my goals. This was my monk mode period. This was my test. If you watch anime, this was my hunter exam. And I did it for once in my life, bro. I took something seriously and just gave it everything for 1 year. And if anyone ever tells you you can't turn your life around in 1 year, they are so damn wrong. At this point, when I had started this job, I was already making money from trading. You know, I was making $5,000 to $7,000 a month. And when, I don't even know. After that year, it was ridiculous. Truthfully, I don't know, probably high 5 figures. Let's give in the ballpark, to be generous, by the time that I was done working that job, or mid 5 figures. 5 figures? Yeah, 5 figures. And that is insane if you think about how you can go from making $3,000, $4,000, $5,000, you know, to $50,000. But that's what it takes. It takes your complete commitment and trust into a model, a system, into whatever it is in life. And that's what I want to teach you in this video and throughout the series, is that you need to have complete trust in what I'm teaching you. You need to have complete conviction in it, because that is the only way you will retain the information and your brain will utilize it accordingly. If you want to waste time just, like half-assing all this, not listening, not taking notes, not doing anything I say, then whatever, that's up to you. It's your time, it's not mine. But I'm going to give you all the information you need, and you need to be open-minded. You need to trust what I'm saying. You need to apply it every day, and your life will change. There is no reason that you can't do it. There's zero excuse. Everyone has the option to watch all these videos for free, and this will be the only thing you will ever need to watch. Well, hopefully you watched the ICT for Dummies video I made too, but this is going to be a bit different. This is going to go more in depth with already existing concepts. I'm not here to teach you what is fair value gap, what is liquidity. No, I'm going to get right into this shit at full throttle. I'm going to go in depth into these theories and perspectives and narratives that I've built in the markets and how I've applied these concepts. If you want all the basic stuff, you can watch the other videos I have, but we're going to take it many steps above now. So yeah, that being said, let's get into this. Welcome to the PB trading theory. Best of luck. Don't let me down, bro.